So many primal screams in me every day. I think we're live.
Hello, everybody. So today we've got on the show Brandon Ellrich, the writer of the Brandon is So Gay publication, or is it Brandon Ellrich is So Gay? Are you
Yeah.
going? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And if you want to introduce yourself at all and anything that you've been working on, feel free to go ahead, Brandon.
Well, yes, my name is Brandon Ellrich. Brandon Ellrich is so gay. And a lot of what I'm doing right now is going live. I decided to go live every day of December, kind of to try to end the year on a good note and try to get more, subscribers, get more exposure and also help other people get a little more exposure too, because like at least 3 of the people I go live with this month have never been on a live video before.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
so I think that's kind of cool. And actually this morning was one of them, Ginger Cook. She had never done a live Substack live. So she came on with me. And that was a lot of fun.
It
Nice.
is always interesting seeing how people extend from their writing personas. There are quite a lot of people who've been very different and also very similar to how I would have expected them to be.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I've met anybody that was super different. Everybody's kind of that's interesting. What kind of I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, but how are people different than their writing personas?
I think that as far as personality goes, the changes are fairly limited, but I notice a tendency in the professional world to use people's very earliest and best headshots. So
Oh wow.
there's
Of
always
course
a yeah, there's often a bit of a discrepancy between the profile picture and the one in front of you on Zoom, but beyond that,
Yeah.
it's usually nothing all that major. Sometimes people who I think of as very, very confident in their writing are a little bit more nervous than I might expect on a live, actually. So
Yeah.
that's a good way in which people vary, I would say.
Yeah, some people are really deliberate in their writing, but
Yeah.
it's a new kind of medium talking. And I know we've gotten a lot better over the last year doing all these lives and feeling a lot more of our real personality comes out because we've been just doing it so much. So
Yeah.
there's that too. So what Brandon's doing is great. Bring more of these writers out here and have a safe space where people can have their first live because it really is fun.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and I try to do something different with every person. I'm not going to like talk about holiday traditions with every person I go live with. That's going to be really boring. But I I try to vary up the subjects, and depending on what they do on Substack and that kind of thing, and ask them about and what their journey is like and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been fun.
How thoroughly have you exhausted the Rob Reiner topic?
Oof.
I have not talked about that at all.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure you weren't rehashing too much territory because that was definitely something I don't know if eager is the right word to talk about, but it's always fun to talk about his movies, even if the circumstances for why we're doing so aren't
Yeah.
terrific.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what he was a visionary. I mean, really great films. The Princess Bride is so fantastic,
Oh
and
yes.
Yeah.
I love that one.
that's such a and would be an appropriate Christmas movie, I think. I mean, it's who doesn't have good family memories about that film?
Something I've been kind of coming to realize about him is, and feel free to fight me on this, but I feel like he's one of the directors who often gets disassociated from their projects. Like they're such singular successes, many of them, that people just talk about Princess Bride and that's the end of the conversation, or just Stand By Me, or just Spinal Tap. But it's not that often that people stop to think that it was the same director behind each of those wildly varied movies.
I think that's true. Yeah, like with Princess Bride, I don't really ever think about him.
Yeah.
I think about the actors and how funny it was. We watched that over and over again growing up, and yeah, I didn't associate with him with that movie until much later.
Like, there's
I
a
think
real common thread between like Tarantino movies and many
yeah.
Spielberg movies, and a lot of the great directors are that way. Woody Allen movies have a very common thread between them. But yeah, Rob Reiner's one of those that it's really hard to detect that signature between his different projects. What were you gonna say, Walter?
Well, I don't think he necessarily has that visual style like some other directors do, and that's
Yeah.
not being negative, but, it's like it's very workmanlike, it's like, it's like the guy who brings a lunchbox to set type of director versus some sort of like, "Oh, I'm gonna do these extravagant things with
Mhm.
cranes and whatever." I
Yeah.
mean, The Princess Bride, the sets are pretty minimal actually, and it's just more about just the delight of the camera's here, this is very efficient, we're gonna tell this story efficiently. And sometimes you get these directors who, they'll take the camera and zoom in on like a mirror or something, and the mirror will roll down a hill, and you'll get this weird, and it's just sort of like that's kind of a distraction. So there's really nothing in a Rob Reiner movie that distracts from the story. So the other side of that is you don't really recognize the director. It's like
Yeah.
there's not a visual signature that he adds. But I think everything he did was in service to the film. And Stand by Me is like really super powerful. The Princess Bride, they're visually different. Those two. Misery is another one. It's just workmanlike. It sets
Yeah.
things up. He allows the actors to take over. So it's neat to have a director who like is willing to step behind the scenes and just let the content be the star.
Yeah, I really appreciate that the versatility because I feel like I want to do that kind of thing. Like I don't want to be uh like limited to a particular niche or whatever. I want to do different things and it, not
Yeah.
just in writing, but do video. And I'm doing the cooking videos and stuff like that. Write different in different areas and stuff like that. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's interesting that so many of those movies are considered masterpieces in their own right. But I really do feel like whenever Stand by Me comes up, it's just oh, have you seen Stand by Me? And the next person will just respond, oh yeah, of course. And then you can kind of just drift onto the next subject. But yeah, many conversations about other directors I feel like lend themselves to more of a oh let's talk about the Christopher Nolan trends and how Oppenheimer varies from Interstellar and yeah, things like that.
Yeah. And I just think it's really interesting because you can tell within 2 seconds if it's a Michael Bay movie, right?
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
there's guys like Ron Howard is kind of cut from the same cloth as Rob Reiner is, where it's just, and I appreciate that. It's really understated, where it's like he's not trying to make himself, it's not a starring vehicle for the director. I think that's really, that's generous. It's a generous way and I think all creative people should be generous. Lift
Yeah.
everybody else up, even if it means that they don't necessarily notice you. I think that's cool.
Yeah, we were just having a fun time watching Princess Bride, and that really is a very unique platypus of a movie. Like it does so many different things and does them so well. Like it's a adventure, comedy, fantasy, romance. It's and pitching that must have been so tricky, but he nailed it. He really did.
Well, that's William Goldman, and he's all-time classic. He wrote the screenplay for it, and it was a
Mm.
book too, but so he has some industry clout, and Rob Reiner did too. He's one of those guys who's been around forever. And so William Goldman was known for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and he wrote the screenplay for Misery too. And so it's just sort of like, yeah, I think that would have been those are the guys who are like, "This would be a passion project. We're getting this one made." Like, the studio execs probably were a hard sell, but you're talking with a couple guys who really had power in the industry who could bring something great, and it didn't perform all that well, but when it was initially released, but it's just a classic at this point.
When you said Misery 2, I pictured a very unsolicited sequel.
Yeah. If the
Actually,
money's there.
I just watched Misery for the first time just a few weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago actually. And yeah, it was it was pretty crazy. I mean, I'd heard of it before and heard about what the premise was and everything, so I kind of knew what it was getting into it, but pretty
That's neat.
disturbing.
Is that your reaction? I mean, I watched it not too long ago with my kids, and it holds up pretty well. It's another one of those films that's mainly shot just in a couple rooms, so you could do it kind of
Right.
inexpensively. And I thought James Caan did a good job. Like Kathy Bates steals the show, but James Caan gives her what she needs to play off, so he gives a nice subdued performance there too. But what other responses did you have to it?
The obvious comparison is to Gerald's Game for me, and I think that it was a better version of that same premise, more or less, where the whole movie is confined to one small place. And I watched it last Halloween season, and I really enjoyed it. It didn't. absolutely changed my life, but really suspenseful, really well done. Not a lot I think to change, and definitely has aged well.
Yeah, I it was cringe. It made me cringe a few times when I knew, like, he was trying to escape and things like that, and she was on her way back and things like that.
Yeah,
And I'm like, oh, what's she gonna do this time?
I
those are
I think for me, the hardest one is when she makes him burn his manuscript, and that's the only manuscript
yeah.
he has, and you can
Yeah,
tell this is a writer's specifically a writer's, worst nightmare, like, trapped by and all my fans are wonderful, I love my fans, I'm sure they would never strap me down to a bed and burn my writing.
I, I think come to think of it, some of the like very most like intense scenes I can think of in like any shows or movies are those ones where you know that the antagonist is coming back to the room and they've only got a limited amount of time to act, and like, oof, I will just feel myself sweating during some of those scenes. I watched
yeah, exactly.
Lovely Bones a few weeks ago, and that's a movie that
Oh,
has a great one of those. It's sometimes it is just like so drawn out, and and it but it really works though. Like they will go back and forth between the two characters, and they're barely making any progress either of them, and it just, oh man, that is so tense sometimes.
Who who directed that one? I know about it, I haven't seen it, though.
Yeah, that one
Lovely
has
Bone.
a kind of mixed reception, and I'm honestly blanking on the director. I know I got as far as looking it up and saying, "Oh," but his name has since eluded me.
Okay, gotcha.
Are you
Yeah, I've
looking
heard
it
of
up
that.
right now,
uh,
That's
Brandon?
a good one for you? You
directed
like
by
it?
Peter Jackson.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I
yeah,
was
that's
gonna
right,
say
that's
Peter
right.
Jackson, so yeah, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I did see it. It's been a while, so I can't. I know I liked it. I thought it was a unique kind of film, but I just can't remember a whole lot about it right now.
It was a movie that made me think a lot about the definition of like what actually makes a horror movie, and because that has some really really creepy elements, but it would be a mistake to just like call it a horror. Like it doesn't really depend on jump scares or anything. It's very dreamy and ethereal. The scenery is what like stuck with me so much. I remember we were in middle school, and I biked to my one of my female friends' house one day, and they were watching Lovely Bones, and I'm like, "Oh, what are you guys watching?" And I just got absolutely sucked into that movie. Spent like it's a pretty long movie. Just like spent the rest of the afternoon on that like November day, just sitting down watching the Lovely Bones, and one of those movies that like you're forever that's forever colored by that first time that you watched it.
Yeah. Oh, how does it stand as a Christmas movie?
It's not a Christmas movie, I will say. I don't think it has any Christmas element, sadly, apart from taking place in the cold.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
was gonna
well,
say. I think there's snow in it. I remember it's in the winter time, right? So
Yeah, maybe there is a Christmas season, that they depict in that, in passing at least, but yeah, it ain't a, Christmas recommendation for you, sadly. Not really a good Halloween one either, call it a good fall movie, kinda like fills that same Harry Potter void.
what
oh
you
yeah,
said is kind of go ahead.
I will. Some people consider Harry Potter a Christmas movie.
I do.
I saw the other. I saw the best Christmas movies ever. It is
Yeah.
a documentary that came out just last year, and they they talk about a bunch of different ones. And I never considered Harry Potter a Christmas movie, but apparently a lot of people do.
Well, it's because all these films were getting Christmas releases, and that happened with the
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings too. It's just sort
huh.
of like because people have time off, so there was like a good 10 or 20 years where it's like, "Oh, these are coming this Christmas," and I think that was true with the Harry Potter film. So we just even though the film isn't necessarily attached to that,
Yeah.
we the first time we saw it was and just like Ben said, the first time you see a film has such an impact to how just
Yeah.
your nostalgia for it. So yeah, there's a lot of weird movies. I mean, yeah, the Lord of the Rings ones too kind of make me think of Christmas, and they really don't have any right to, but
Well,
that's all right.
somebody told me just the other day that in Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring set out on Christmas Day, and
Ah,
I didn't
yeah.
realize that. So
If,
I guess there's a Christmas element, even though they don't really talk about it. But
if I had to put my finger on why Harry Potter, at least, is so fondly remembered as a Christmas movie, I would say it's just the sheer magic of the way that they depict the holiday season. Because you're right, it isn't like an actual like through and through Christmas movie in the same way as like Home Alone
Yeah.
or why am I blanking on literally any other Christmas movie at all?
National
It's a Wonderful
Lampoon's
Life.
Christmas Vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. um, but
That's an example of how our brains work. You
right.
went straight to Wonderful Life. I went to National Lampoon's. There you go.
But yeah, I think that like the 10 or 15 minutes that most of the movies do give to the Christmas season is enough that it just really fulfills that function for people. And just like this year back to school element, like they always do,
Yeah.
I feel like they
Yeah.
kind of protract the season a little bit right around Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah. There's that one scene in the first Harry Potter movie too, where it goes from just fall and then they have the snowfall scene. That always really strikes me because it really gives you that feeling of the first snowfall of the year.
Yeah.
I think he's just walking across the courtyard with his owl, and you're like, "Holy shit, that's nice!" And right there, it does feel Christmassy. Even I don't know. I associate the snow. I'm from a winter climate, so I appreciate it.
yeah, I don't feel like. Well, I mean, of course, Die Hard is always mentioned. That's always a debate. Of course, I don't want to get into all that, but I don't consider that a Christmas movie. Just because there's a Christmas event in a movie does not make it a Christmas movie.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what's a more of a Christmas movie, Harry Potter or Die Hard.
Oh,
Because they both really technically aren't, but they still kind of are for me.
Well, are you old enough? Because I'm old enough where it's like for Christmas, you'd start getting all the sword and sandal movies, like Ben-Hur, because like Jesus shows up at the
oh,
end of Ben-Hur for 2 seconds. And so there would be all this.
oh,
So I would always argue that Conan the Barbarian is a Christmas movie because it's a sword and he gets crucified. But then I said, but he's not a wimp like Jesus. Instead of just, pathetically dying on the cross, he bites the neck of a vulture. He pretends he's dead. He bites the neck of a vulture, drinks enough blood so he can survive until his magician friend resurrects him. So it has a resurrection. So Conan the Barbarian is the number one Christmas movie.
no,
I'll
no, no,
fight
no.
anybody.
That's Easter. The resurrection.
For
That's
Christmas,
Easter. That's
same
not
story.
Christmas.
Same story. Oh yeah, that's the death. Ah,
That's right. That's right.
okay, good counter argument. It's an Easter movie
Mm,
then. I'll
that's
concede.
right.
Yeah.
But is
Usually
Conan the
nobody listens
Barbarian?
to me to the end of that argument, so you're the first.
But is Conan the Barbarian as good as the SpongeBob Christmas special?
I haven't seen SpongeBob, but I just thought of the Critter Christmas, the South Park Critter Christmas. That one makes me happy.
I
Did you see
haven't
the,
seen this. I don't know if I saw the SpongeBob one or not. I don't think I did.
that there were actually a couple SpongeBob Christmas episodes, but the one that will always be the most iconic for me is the one that came out either I think it was like early 2000s, like 2001, 2002 or so, and has this one Christmas song in it. I'm not gonna impose my singing on our listeners right now, but
Oh, go ahead. Come on.
Yeah.
it's shaping up to be a wonderful holiday. That's all you guys are getting for now. but
The
yeah,
SpongeBob Christmas special.
that's one of those ones that I do like to watch at some point every Christmas holiday for my season to feel complete.
Well, when I saw that documentary, the best Christmas movies ever, and there were a couple I had never heard of, and that started me on kind of a journey.
Oh,
But
good.
one of them was Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Yeah. Good one. Is it good?
I'd never heard of that one, but it was from 1964. It was a black and white film, and it was, oh gosh, it was interesting. I mean, the Martian children apparently were watching a lot of Earth TV, and they were just like, it was kind of making them stupid, basically. I mean, they were like enthralled with this Earth TV, and that's all they were doing, is watching these Earth programs. So the Martians decided they needed to go to Earth and kidnap Santa Claus and bring him to Mars to save their children. So, I mean, great premise, right? I mean, but it was like, 1964. But the makeup, it was like they painted their faces green. They were wearing green costumes and helmets with this pose on it and stuff, and painted their faces green. But the makeup was not even or anything. You could see the white around their eye. The skin. It was just kind of patchy and stuff. Like even 1964, you can smooth out the makeup. I mean, come on.
Was this like
It
an Ed
didn't
Wood
look like they were.
Christmas? Was it like an Ed Wood Christmas movie?
I didn't look at who the director or the producer or anything was. I didn't write that down, but
The
it was just
the kidnapping Santa Claus plot reminds me of did you see the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas short by any chance, either of you?
Oh no, I
I
didn't.
don't think so.
One of the protagonists is feeling nostalgic for Christmas in another planet where they don't celebrate Christmas. So a couple of his friends in the group, in order to make his holiday feel more magical, go to Earth and kidnap Kevin Bacon for him. Because he's always
Does this
talking
film have
about.
Kevin Bacon in it?
Yes, it's real Kevin Bacon. It's one of his best roles. It's honestly so good.
What's
One
the
of
name
his
of that
best
again?
roles.
They like break into his house and they like chase him down, and and they're like, "You're always talking about Kevin Bacon, so we got him for you." And he's like, "You kidnapped him."
What
And
movie was that? What's the name?
it was done by Marvel, and it's like not a full-fledged movie, but it was a Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special that they
Oh,
came up with in like 2021 or so. It might have been pandemic release, but I really, really enjoy that one. And another one that you reminded me of, Brandon, that I just watched last night, had a very unclever name. I think it was just called uh, Alien Christmas or something. It was similar to the one that you
Oh,
mentioned, and it was basically just like a kind of modern reimagining of The Grinch, where there are these aliens that discover Earth, and they're called these klepts. They're called klepts, rather, and they just uh, they steal. That's their thing. They steal from people, and they discover Earth. Yeah,
kleptomaniac. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they discover Earth, and they're like, "Wow, these guys have a lot of stuff," and so they send a scout to Earth, and he discovers that humans aren't so bad, and he grows a heart, but in their
Oh,
universe version of growing a heart.
oh. I like this idea of the Brandon's proposal. It's like it has to have more. What did you say? It has to have more than just a Christmas element. I want to come on. Let's come up with a definition then of what a Christmas movie has to be. And so,
I don't know. I almost think it has to be Christmas needs to be almost a character in the movie. Like,
Hmm.
I think it needs to be like, it wouldn't be a movie without the Christmas element to it. Like, I think of like Love Actually is one of my favorites. I consider it a Christmas movie because
yeah. All
basically
right.
everybody gets together because of Christmas, and their stories intertwine, and it's all centered around Christmas, and all takes place within that Christmas season.
So the
And
same way the Starship Enterprise has to be a character in a Star Trek movie, Christmas has to be that kind of cohesive element in a Christmas movie. Is that a fair
that
and nerdy
kind of,
way of saying it?
yeah, sure,
But
sure.
what about okay? Because like I do not like Home Alone, and it's
Really,
considered but it's I
it's
mean
like comedy.
it's less violent than fucking Die Hard is less violent than Home Alone, and it's like and then we get things like Violent Night, which is I can't tell if that's a remake of Home Alone or a remake of Die Hard, except that it's Santa in the killer role. Violent Night, I guess, has to be by your definition a Christmas movie. Home Alone though, does Home Alone have to be?
Well,
I'm calling
I
Home
mean,
Alone a Christmas movie.
I consider it a Christmas movie, but I guess, I mean, really, I don't know. That's hard to. Because the thieves go into people's houses because they're gone for Christmas, and
Well, is
Kevin
it?
Kevin was left alone because they went on a Christmas holiday,
To France,
and
yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good
I
I just
don't
like it.
Christmas
I
know.
like that we're pushing the boundaries. It's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
Well, speaking
You
of
pre-
Violent Night, another one that I watched was Silent Night, Deadly Night.
yeah,
Oh shit!
Oh,
Which one was
it's
that?
not a
I'm
Christmas
blanking.
movie. That's just a horror movie.
well, but I mean, it was Santa Claus was the I mean, someone dressed as Santa Claus was the killer,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was disturbing actually. It was from 1984,
Yeah.
and well, they did a remake actually. I think it just came out this year, but the one I watched was the original one from 1984, and then there were like 4 sequels. There's Silent Night, Deadly Night 5. I think they went up to 5 of them. But anyway, it was this little kid. They're on their way home on Christmas Eve, and this guy dressed as Santa kills his parents, and
It's
he's
like
like,
Batman, except the bad Batman. Yeah.
yeah, it was, and then the kid gets sent to this Catholic orphanage, and he gets abused by nuns, and it was just, I don't. There's a lot to it that I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, this
I
is
don't know
fun.
if that would be made today, actually.
Yeah.
But it was the '80s, and they did a lot of,
Yeah. I know. You don't have to tell me. I lived through that. Yeah, that's just.
yeah,
And he kills him with an axe, right?
yeah, yeah,
He's an axe murderer. Not
yeah. Well,
enough axe murder.
the original, the guy that killed his parents shot him with a gun, but then the kid grows up and he has PTSD,
PTSD. Yeah.
and he works for this department store, and they tell him he has to be the Santa. And so when he puts on this
Trigger.
Santa
Yeah.
uniform or thing, it triggers him, and he becomes the killer and kills everybody with an axe and stuff. So
So where does he
it's
get the
pretty
axe?
wild.
Is it
Oh, it was just I don't know. It was just convenient. It was there. I mean,
okay? Okay. Funny.
well, yeah, and yeah, he strangled one person, but so it's not,
Oh,
you know,
is that early, or does he work himself up to becoming an axe murderer through strangulation in this Christmas
no,
film?
no, it's just
Okay.
whatever's convenient. No, there was a cord there, and he used that, and there was an axe, and so
Oh
you
man,
use what you can, I guess.
it's like MacGyver, a MacGyver killer
Right?
Christmas movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
good crossover.
One fun action Christmas movie that I watched last holiday season that I think is at least 30% more Christmas than Die Hard is I think it was called Carry On, and it took place in an airport right around Christmas. I think in the immediate days leading up to it, and yeah, it feels a very similar void to Die Hard. I enjoyed that one
Carry
quite a
On.
bit. I
Yeah,
don't
that
want to spoil
Netflix
too
one.
much.
Yeah, yeah. It was trying to
It
be.
wasn't
It was trying to
groundbreaking.
be Die Hard too bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
thought
wasn't
it was.
groundbreaking. I liked it though.
No, I was gonna
I
bring
kind
in
of
Con Air. Con Air
oh,
is because he's
as
got
a
to get that
Christmas?
bunny to his daughter.
Oh
Why
God.
couldn't you put the bunny back in the box? And I think there's a scene. It doesn't fit but this is my new Christmas movies because that's part of the Cage trilogy of awesome. I had my kids
Oh,
watch Face Off the other day, and
oh
even they were just
gosh.
like, "Daddy, this movie's just stupid. Are you serious? How could this even be a movie?" And they were just like, what was wrong with the '90s?" And it's just like this is peak Cage. And so you watch Con Air, The Rock, and Face Off. That's a nice little Christmas miracle, especially if you're tired of like the holiday, the Hallmark romance Christmas movies. That just balances it out. They throw in the ponies, I throw in Face Off, and then I emerge more or less sane. Not a Christmas
Yeah,
movie.
I do avoid the Hallmark type movie. I really don't like this really
Krampus.
sappy, unrealistic, you know, romantic comedies where they, of course they're going to get together in the end and live happily ever after. That's not
Yeah,
real.
yeah,
Yeah,
I want
romance
some
is
screaming. Yeah.
romance is kind of one of my least favorite genres. I hate those like meet up at the airport at the moment before midnight type stereotypes. Never quite did it for me.
There's some good ones like that, but then there's some that just take it to such an extreme. I
Right.
think there's kind of like finding that midpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. There are some like Love Actually, I think is a really good one. There's some because not they don't all end up together. Some of them end up heartbroken, which is
Yeah.
reality, But then there's a lot of comedy and kind of warm, heartfelt moments and stuff. But I think it's a good one.
I like thinking of that vein. Wimbledon with I think it's Paul Bettany, the guy who plays Vision. Is that his name? And that's a really sweet. I don't know if you've seen it, but Wimbledon's a nice, sweet like romance type movie. It's a sports romance. They're both tennis players, and it lands right. Where it's just like this isn't too extreme. This is just kind of fun, and I mean even Love Actually gets a little bit too. There's that one scene with the stalker scene, which is a little problematic when he shows up with the cards. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, I'd still like it, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, this is a little weird. He shows up and it's like,
Shows
I
up
want
with
you to know I think you're perfect.
oh
She's
right,
really
right, right.
excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think it was during the pandemic, did you see the updated, like they all got the cast together and they did like a where are they now kind of thing
Oh,
where they all kind of you see who ended up together and stuff like that. And it was just a short one. I think they put it out around Christmas time. It wasn't like a full movie, but I thought it
okay.
was pretty cool.
It was like this is what happened to these characters type deal.
Right, right, right. Yeah. And they had all of them, Keira Knightley and Colin Firth and
With them. Go ahead. It deals
oh
with some
no, sorry.
serious themes. Yeah, I'm sorry. It
Yeah,
deals like the Alan Rickman's character in that, and they're going
yeah,
through some serious stuff, and it's
yeah.
sad, but I think it's fair how it treats that kind of a relationship. So yeah, Love Actually is a good one. I like that.
That's so
Any
I
others,
when I
Ben?
watched the oh sorry.
I'm
No,
sorry, I'm interrupted.
no. I didn't let let Ben talk to how much he loves Love Actually.
That is one I haven't seen, but as far as other movies go, another one that kind of sits on the border of is it a Christmas movie? Is it not? I don't. I kind of put Groundhog Day in that list. Do you guys consider that a holiday movie?
Wow,
Oh,
it's a Groundhog's Day movie.
Yeah, because really, it is a Groundhog Day movie. Like it's in the name. But I am I wrong that there are quite a few scenes that take place on or around New Year, or
I
am
think
I
it's
just
all
imagining
Groundhog's
that?
Day.
Yeah, like I don't know
You could have
why
easily
this
have
is.
been
I've
though.
kind of
I
built
think
this
it's
up in
one.
my mind as a holiday movie. It might just be one of those by association alone type deals. But yeah, or the
well,
snow
it's
on the ground or the cold
yeah. That's what I was
locale.
gonna say.
Yeah,
It's all winter and it's stuff
yeah.
in February. Where I can't remember where is Puxatawny.
Puxatawny. Aren't they in
I,
Puxatawny?
yeah, I think
But
Where the
that's
groundhog is?
I think
what
that's in
state is
Pennsylvania.
Puxatawny?
Pennsylvania, I
Oh,
think.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so
But
Pennsylvania would still have snow in February a lot
but
of
it's sort of
times.
like that has every element of a Christmas movie, but somebody's like, "Wait a minute, there's no specials for Groundhog's Day." Let's make a marketing decision. Make this the one movie that comes out
Yeah.
on Groundhog's Day. But yeah, that could have been a Christmas movie easily. We might as well watch it
Yeah.
on Christmas.
Yeah, that also does have
So
that
man, what do you want?
sentimentality. Like the moral behind it feels very Christmas adjacent. But yeah, like I'm stopping to think about it now, and like that movie definitely takes place entirely on Groundhog Day, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Over and over and
Right.
Over
over.
and over and over. Yeah. Yeah, it is basically a Scrooge movie though. I mean,
Yes,
because he's
yes.
this
Yeah.
grumpy guy, and he kind of turns around and stuff. So I can see where you think that.
Yeah. What's your next one on your weird list, including Santa Saved the Martians or whatever it was?
Yeah, well, so I watched the 2024 best Christmas movies ever, and then went back to 1964, and Silent Night, Deadly Night was 1984. So I
Yeah,
decided to stay on the four, you
good.
know,
Good thinking.
uh,
Logical.
the decades. So I went all the way back to 1934 and watched
Wait.
March of the Toy Soldiers,
Oh,
which is
Christ. I bet that was weird.
it was a Laurel and Hardy film. So it was a comedy. Do you know who? Are you familiar with Laurel and Hardy?
Yeah. Yep.
I'd say I am.
Oh, he doesn't know
they
about
were
it
a,
already.
they were a comedy duo, and they did a lot of films. But I remember them because my grandma used to have these uh, ventriloquist type dolls of Laurel and Hardy, and she had some of the black and white VHS tapes and stuff, and so I watched several of those, and they're funny. They're kind of on the line of Street Three Stooges, kind of,
Yeah.
that kind of humor, slapstick kind
Okay.
of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was 1934, so you have to kind of keep that in mind when you're watching it with the graphics and all that kind of thing. But
Sometimes I just feel like I'm trying too hard to force an appreciation. Like It's a Wonderful Life has been one of the very, very rare movies from throughout my life that's like pre 1960 that has really, really pulled me in and continued to be one of my favorite holiday movies. But yeah, no, the original Nosferatu, I think, was the most recent movie that I tried to go back and watch the original, and I'm just like, I was annoyed with all the loyalists who say, "Oh, this is so good, you need to watch the original." Like, no, you don't. You don't.
well, I think it is good to go back to some of those and appreciate
Yeah,
what they had to work with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with the graphics and things like that. I
yeah,
mean, definitely it didn't look realistic, but for back then, if
yeah.
you had never seen these kind of, like with Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, I watched the very first film version of A Christmas Carol
Oh,
from 1901,
oh God.
and it was a silent film, and it was the only thing left of it is like 6.5 minutes of it, but you can find it on YouTube.
Neat.
But they had like just the way they did like the ghosts and everything. It was pretty good as far as for that time period. And
Yeah.
like when he goes to the door for the knocker, it's a knocker, and all of a sudden there's this person's face there, and they cut cut it out. But it's that's what they had to do. They just somebody stuck their face in this hole, and but I think it's good to get appreciation, especially for silent films, because when they're not saying, they have to express everything with their face, their facial expressions and their body and everything,
Yeah.
telling this story without saying a word.
So
And
yeah, so I don't earnestly believe that there's no value in going back and checking out these movies. Like part of me is just trying to be a bit of a contrarian on
oh
that
yeah,
point. Um,
yeah,
like they're even with like my some of my favorite TV shows, I do always enjoy going back and seeing some of those like original shorts and ways that they came into being. But I would have a hard time like watching an entire show of, for example, those original early 1990s South Park shorts. Like, I'm happy to know that they exist, and it's fun to see how the show began taking form, but it's not anything that I can watch an entire show of. So it's a pretty similar experience for me most of the time when I go back and watch really early cinema. Like it's interesting and educational, and there are always elements that I can enjoy, but as far as just like outright immersion and like, am I having a good time with this movie right now? It doesn't happen all that
well,
often.
I kind of agree with you on that. I mean, I don't watch a whole lot of older films and stuff, but like for the leading up to this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back and watch a Christmas movie in every decade. And
Wow. Watch it.
I don't love all of them, and I wouldn't want to watch a bunch of old movies in a row. But as long as I can watch one and then move on to something else, I think I
Yeah.
would get tired of like a lot of silent movies in a row, or a lot of black and white old style movies or whatever. But yeah,
What what's the selection from 1944?
1940. I could not find a specifically Christmas movie from 1944. When I looked it up, the results were like there was this German film that was specifically Christmas, but that's the only one I could find. I had to skip that. I had to skip that one.
Okay. So 54 then? What's next? I like this.
54. I did A Christmas Carol.
Okay,
It's the
good.
only I mean, there are like tons.
Yeah.
I mean, when I asked my Alexa, I asked how many versions of A Christmas Carol there were, and she said there were like over 400,
Yeah.
including films and TV and all this. So I only watched one version in this lineup, but it was a musical, and it was one of the few musical versions of A Christmas Carol that I've seen,
Wow.
and it was only 51 minutes. Wasn't very good. It cut out a lot of pieces from the original story. It was, it was interesting, but it was just okay.
Uh, Now, do Ben, did you watch like the George C. Scott? Because everybody watched the George C. Scott Christmas Carol when I was growing up. I don't know if that's still one you're even familiar with or not.
I want to say that I watched A Christmas Carol in seventh grade, and not very attentively. Yeah.
It's kind of neat, isn't it? Because even up to when I was in school, that was probably the definitive Christmas story. And like you said, there's like 400 versions. So there's probably like 100 years where it's like Christmas Carol was the only story. And now it's like, not even really, it didn't even come to my mind. I was writing down all these notes and I didn't even think to write. I mean, there's the Muppets Christmas Carol now. So it's just sort of like, it's
Yes,
kind of been done.
I love that one actually. So I have a little story, but a friend of mine goes to this local library every year around Christmas time, and there's a guy named Gerald Dickens who is the great great nephew of Charles Dickens, and he goes and does kind of a one man show of A Christmas Carol reciting and stuff like that. And she said, he takes questions from the audience or whatnot, and somebody asked him, what's the best version of A Christmas Carol? And he said, you may find this funny, but A Muppet Christmas Carol is like holds the closest to the original, the book, like the language and everything like that. They follow, of course, they add in the musical numbers and comedy and stuff. But as far as like the language and everything, he said
Huh,
that's his favorite and
that's
the
neat.
closest to the book, which is really interesting. And I like that version too. I think it's pretty fun.
Well, it's also kinda neat, the evolving Christmas traditions, because there's no Santa in A Christmas Carol, and it's entirely,
Yeah.
the visions of the past and the future and changing the course of your life and not being so stingy. The word Scrooge, what didn't mean that before, he was just a character in that story, so it's had that impact, but it is kind of a fading impact, so I think that's kinda cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one with Scrooge isn't called A Ghost with Christmas from Christmas Past. That's Christmas Carol?
Uh, yeah, the Ghost of Christmas Past is a character in A Christmas Carol.
Okay. For some reason, I kind of had things conflated there and thought that the name of that story with Scrooge was The Ghost of Christmas Past.
They
Okay, A
probably
Christmas
called it that
Carol.
at time. There's
Yeah,
400
Christmas Carol.
versions.
I can at least confirm that I've seen and remember decently. I know the plot. I don't know if I ever saw more than one version of it, but yeah, I saw that one in maybe high school. I remember the general plot going forward and backward in time, but yeah, it's not a story I'm as familiar with as far as
There's
Well,
a
I
Bill
would.
Murray version. The Bill
Oh
Murray
yeah,
version's called Scrooged. That's
yeah.
mildly entertaining, but yeah. All right, what decade are we up to? That was 54. What's in 64? I love this.
Well,
This is awesome.
64 was the Santa Claus Conquers the Martians,
Okay.
and 1974 was Black Christmas,
Okay.
and it was another slasher film, kind
Okay.
of, and it was starring Margot Kidder, the
Oh
original
my
Lois
god.
Lane.
Yeah.
And so it was these girls at a sorority house, and there's a killer on the loose, and it's during at Christmas time, and
Not a
he
Christmas
goes,
movie.
yeah. I was trying to go with I didn't want I didn't want to watch a bunch of the traditional Christmas
Yeah, I
movies. I was
gotcha.
trying to go something obscure, and so I was going with you know Conquers the Martians and these couple of slasher films, but.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, 1984 was Silent Night, Deadly Night. 94, I chose Mixed Nuts.
Okay, I
Have
kind
you?
of remember that. How was that? You
Not
probably
seen
haven't
that.
seen it. I remember at least looking at the poster. Tell us about Mixed Nuts.
I was. I think it's hilarious, but it's got an all-star cast. It's Steve Martin, Madeline Kahn,
Okay.
Adam Sandler, Juliette Lewis, Liev Schreiber, Rita Wilson, Parker Posey. It's
Oh,
just
Oh
got
wow.
it's got tons of people in it, but it was it was just really funny. It's like this. It's set with this call center, and Steve Martin and Madeline Kahn are part of this call center where they're taking calls from people who are depressed or whatever, and they're talking to him on the phone, and it's just some of the people they get involved personally with some of these people, and they're in this apartment building. They've got crazy neighbors, Adam Sandler being one of them, and it's it's just a lot of it's really a funny movie, but
I'll
it
have to
it
find
takes
that.
place at Christmas. But yeah, it's a good one.
Adam
One from
Sandler
about that. Oh, go ahead.
is a controversial taste. I myself love Adam Sandler. My girlfriend not so much.
I like
But
him in
I
like
haven't seen
two
that one.
scenes. I don't like him when he's the lead. Somebody mentioned Goonies in the chat. I was like, that's a nostalgic one, not Christmas, but just reminds me of being a kid. So that kind of does that way. 94 would have been about the time the movie The Ref came out with Dennis Leary. That's definitely a Christmas
Oh yeah,
movie. And
somebody
I
else
can't
just
find it
told me
anywhere.
about that one.
I keep waiting for it. That's one of the movies that has dropped off of streaming. I can't find it anywhere. My kids even said, because every Christmas I'm like, maybe we can watch The Ref, and it's like it's never available. They've said, yeah, that's the movie Daddy always searches for, and it just doesn't exist. So they, I like it though.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that one either, and somebody just a day or two ago mentioned that, and I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's pretty funny. It's probably not as good as it should be, but it's entertaining. It's the kind of humor I like. All right, 2004.
2004 was Noel, and it starred Penelope Cruz, Susan Sarandon, Robin Williams, Paul Walker, Alan
Wow.
Arkin. So two of those people are deceased, but
Paul Walker and
it
Robin
was
Williams. That's
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I had never heard of it before until I started looking up these Christmas movies that came out in these decades, and I thought it was really good. It wasn't it wasn't like a romantic comedy. I would it's more of a kind of a drama. I mean, there was some romance in it, I guess, but that definitely wasn't the focal point. But it was a heartwarming kind of movie, and Robin Williams, it was a serious role for him, and it's kind of ironic because his character stops someone from killing themselves in the movie,
Yeah.
and of
Yeah. Wow.
course, 10 years later, you know, it's
Yeah.
just interesting to have seen that. It was, but it was a good one. I would recommend it.
Yeah, that's one of the celebrity deaths, probably even the singular worst celebrity death that I've endured in my life. I remember
Yep.
being in an airport when I first learned about that and just being so broken up by the news.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. That's the one. It's like it just really struck, and I remember Robin Williams going all the way back to Mork from Mork. I mean, he would Mork and
Yes.
Mindy.
Yeah.
He was a guest star on the Happy Days. That's where he kind of came in, and it was just like, and you can just tell he was just this guy who was so kind, and his kindness was so sincere. You can't fake it. And it was just like, and there are all these stories about how he would, just these acts of generosity he would engage in when he was on sets, and how everybody said that. And it's just what a mind he had, a brilliant creative mind. And yeah, when that takes you into a dark space, it's pretty hard to get out of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was a heartbreaker. I'll have to find some other. I mean, he's got some great. I mean, things like even The Fisher King could be considered a Christmas movie. I don't think it's, but I mean, it's Arthurian legend. It's got that. I'd have to watch that again. That's another one that's kinda hard to find. Do you guys know this? The Terry Gilliam movie with Jeff Bridges and
I've heard of
Robin
it, but
Williams?
I don't think I've
Oh,
I've
seen
you
heard
that
of it,
one.
but I haven't seen it.
it's a beautiful movie. I'll have to think of a couple other Robin Williams movies to watch. He's just worth revisiting. He
Yeah.
does a Peter Pan. I guess that was probably, but I don't think anybody likes that
Yeah.
version of Peter Pan.
Hook. Yeah. I thought it was a good one, but
I kind of grew up on that one. I have
yeah.
positive feelings about that one.
Yeah, I
Somebody said.
enjoyed it.
All right, what are we up to? 2014?
2014 is another Robin Williams movie. It's A Merry Friggin' Christmas.
How was that one?
That one wasn't as good. I mean, it was kind of silly, comedy, but it had Joel McHale, Robin Williams, Candice Bergen, and Lauren Graham. But yeah, it was just kind of a silly, Robin Williams played kind of I would say almost kind of like a white trash kind of guy family and he didn't, his son was played by Joel McHale. They didn't get along and they kind of separated it, kind of were estranged in some ways. And then they came back at Christmas and, it was
Yeah.
kind of one of those,
Yeah.
I'm sure you know what
Yeah.
happens,
Paint
obviously.
by Numbers Christmas Story. Yeah.
But actually, that was one of the last films that he did because that was in 2014, which is the year that he died. So it was one of the because he did several in a row around that time, and that was one of his last.
Huh. There was another brilliant one with him in it called What Dreams May Come, but that was another one that dealt with suicide and extreme depression. It's really a beautiful movie. Not necessarily a Christmas movie. But it's interesting though, you looking at it from this perspective of 100 years of Christmas movies by decades, because it's like you do kind of get into the scene where it's like it's again and again, like all these things come up, and you're just sort of like get kind of like, ugh. It's like a completely new take on Christmas starts to be kind of a fun
Yeah.
thing. The old Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came on the other day, and my
Oh
wife, who didn't
yes.
grow up in the United States, she's just like, this is psychotic, this with the little moving characters, because it's like, it's just inappropriate. It's like, what? But it's like you grow up on that, so you don't see the problems with it. So I
Right.
appreciated
Yeah.
she pointed them out.
When you're young, you're just like, this is just the way it is. I don't know.
I think a lot of the trouble that people have with categorizing Christmas movies is that a lot of people just see them as the like sentimental family type movies. And I don't know, at least for me, I enjoy the versatility and the fact that you can have satirical Christmas movies and action Christmas movies and horror Christmas movies. And
Yeah.
yeah, it might be a kind of antithetical to like be terrified while you're sitting around with your family around Christmas time, but it's nice to have that diversity there, to have those warm, sentimental ones and also those
Yeah.
petrifying ones.
Well, like a National Lampoon's Christmas, the
Yeah.
Christmas Vacation, that was never intended. Because I remember when it came out, everybody's like, this is just a spoof of a Christmas movie. It was never intended to actually become like a holiday tradition that you'd watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. But a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's the first one I watch every year," and it's just like, well,
Yeah.
okay, I guess that's how things work. Yeah, we're into. Nikki's got Die Hard as a Christmas movie. I have to watch it just to balance out, these other ones. I got to get back to my level state. If I just sit watching Love Actually, I get a false perception of what the world is like.
Well, go back and watch Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night, and you'll
I
get
like
a different
Violent Night.
perspective.
Yeah. Did we do 2024 then, or were you?
Well, 2024 was where I started. Basically, I watched the documentary listing all the best Christmas movies, and that's kind of where it got start. I found out where because I mentioned Santa Claus Conquers the Martians and a couple others, and I didn't mean to go by decade until I watched like 3 or 4 films, and I realized, oh, they're all ending in fours, and I was like, well,
Yeah,
I've got to keep
good
going with that
side.
theme. So, but also there's Dear Santa with Jack Black. It came out in
Okay.
2024, but I haven't watched that one. I think it was whatever streaming service it was available. I think it comes out like tonight at 8 o'clock or something like that. So I kind of wanted to see what that one was. It's just a silly kind of comedy thing, but
Was it
I thought
okay
I'd
or?
check it out. I haven't seen it. I just have seen like the previews for
Oh.
it and stuff. Jack Black plays Satan, I believe, the devil,
Oh,
and
yeah. He's trying to
because
send
the
a letter
kid,
to Santa.
yeah, kid writes a letter, and instead of writing "Dear Santa," he writes "Dear Satan," and and Jack Black comes up and is like, "Well,
That's awesome.
here I am."
He'd be a good Satan. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's Go ahead, Ben.
I like the splitting it up by decades policy. One of my favorite film publications that I write for on Medium, they have it set up now so that if you're reviewing something, it has to be celebrating some anniversary of some sort in order so that they're not constantly inundated by any show or any movie from any year. So it's nice sometimes to like have it be narrowed down to like, okay, I have to watch a movie from 2015 or 2005 or 1995, and there's just so much out there sometimes that narrowing
Yeah.
down is helpful. Because if you're really just like every time you go to watch a movie, you're confronted with the bulk of what's out there, then it's not hard to see why people can get analysis paralysis when they're dealing with these streaming platforms.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's one
even
thing
if
I
you
kind of had some trouble with when I was thinking about holiday movies and stuff. And there's so many. I'm like, how am I gonna? I started looking. I'm like, how am I even gonna search for them? Because I didn't want to do all of the traditional Frosty and Rudolph and Christmas Carol, although I did watch one of them. But yeah, I wanted to do kind of obscure and ones that maybe nobody's heard of. And so I think I got a few of them, you know?
Yeah, no, that's great. And, like, when you're talking about overload, it's like even if you go from year to year and watch, like, a list of the top box office for that year, even that's overload between year to year, and then it's like and then there's movies that, like, didn't even perform very well, so there's just so much or movies from I haven't watched too many, like, international Christmas movies now that I think about that. I'll have to make a
Yeah.
deliberate effort to do something like that.
I've got and I kind of like this tradition that I have lately of getting deeply into cinema for an entire month or two, and then doing the same thing with video games. I was all throughout October watching more than one horror movie most days, and now the past couple weeks I've kind of been having a more of a gaming hiatus, and or rather hiatus from movies where I'm playing games more, and it's there's so many games that you really do need to just like commit to, and if you're going to play it at all, you need to play it every day and actually like know what you're doing and figure out the story and how certain mechanics work together and shit. And yeah, so as a result, I haven't been watching a whole lot in the way of Christmas movies these past couple weeks. Every time the free time surfaces, I'm just like, let's game.
What's the
But
best Christmas video game?
Um, it's not a Christmas game exactly, but the one that I already brought up a couple weeks ago is Fortnite, which has been especially interesting for me because of the seasonal component of it. Like the internet has enabled it to have these like
Uh-huh.
huge updates each couple weeks. So now it's a like more winter wonderland themed place that you're playing on than it was a couple weeks ago. And before that, it was like all Simpsons themed, and sometimes there are Marvel themes, and it's very interesting just how much it's changed over the years. Because it used to be the case that any game, as it would come out, it would just always be known that way forever moving forward. And yeah, now this game is something entirely different in October from November, from December, from January. And I don't know if I'm going to continue to play it as obsessively as I am now, but that component of it has been really interesting for me. I didn't expect to be so interested by it.
I In talking about this too, I've been thinking another thing we could look at is like the best Christmas or holiday special for a TV show. Like, because every single TV show that was
Mm.
ever big, I bet we should see if
Yeah.
that list exists, and if it doesn't, we'll have to
Oh,
compile it.
yeah. Oh, that's certainly out there, yeah.
You can find all those old shows now, and so I'm sure there's Star Trek episodes of Christmas even.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's not with the original Star Trek, at least. I can't remember one that celebrated Christmas, but I'm sure like the next generation, I must have seen one from there.
The
It was
Star
also
Wars holiday special.
It was also
Yeah.
kind of occurring to me too that that while there aren't a lot of Thanksgiving movies, there are a fair amount of Thanksgiving like TV specials and
Yeah.
things like that. But
Thanksgiving. There's one where the
yeah,
turkey goes
yeah.
mad and kills people, I think, with a knife with a carving knife rather than an axe.
Of course. Of course.
Vengeance. Vengeance for the turkey. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, there are 1,001
I
Christmas
hope the
specials.
turkey carves somebody up, like, slowly and hands out the meat. Like, just like
Oh.
he's gotta stuff somebody. Yeah. That's fair.
Oh. Stuffed by a turkey.
The world needs that. We should be considering the perspective of the turkey, you know? He's one of the ones that got pardoned. Like, he got pardoned, and he's just like, "Vengeance for the turkeys." I don't know. This probably doesn't
Yeah.
look good. He gets trapped in a building with some terrorists, and he goes, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!" That's what it All
Die
right.
Hard Thanksgiving.
We gotta have more Thanksgiving. They all have Charlie Brown. Like, all the holiday specials have Charlie Brown in them.
Yeah.
He's got his Christmas tree that falls over with one bulb.
Also
I
on
like
the
Charlie
subject
Brown.
of Christmas movies and things that are seasonally thematic, there is always the Charlie Brown Christmas song, but for me that's never had as much of a Christmas energy as the just regular.
Yeah.
Like Linus and Lucy is such a good song. I love that song. But yeah, the Christmas one's a little bit too melancholic for me. I like the warmth
Yeah,
by
all
the
kinds of
fireplace aspect of the just general theme. I don't know.
Yeah. No, Charlie Brown is always depressing somehow. I don't know
Yeah.
why. The one where he has to
Well,
give his
he's
dog back. It's like, come on. That's worse than Bambi. It's like your mother dying is second to having to give back your dog. So we can do
he's
that.
always getting the short end of the stick. You know, that
Yeah.
football is always being pulled out, landing on his back, and
They never did let him kick it. Like, never even once. It's like, just close that loop in our psyche, please. Just
yeah.
make him like they're like, nope, that's always a failure. That's a thing that exists. You never have satisfaction. Thanks a
Well,
lot.
sometimes that's reality.
Oh man, we get enough reality in real life. I want some fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, no more. We're over our time a little bit. Any closing thoughts on our Christmas recommendations? I said Con Air and the Cage trilogy. I think everybody needs that.
I think we've
Yeah.
got a pretty healthy list for people. I don't know if I've got
Yeah.
anything too immediate to contribute. I got to start watching some more holiday movies this next week.
That 8-bit Christmas movie is really 8-bit Christmas, the one where they get the
That
Nintendo. That one was really good.
that's one of my favorite ones, and it was so
Christmas
overdue. Like,
Story.
us gamers don't have enough devoted Christmas stories, but like the magic of getting a first console or any console at all around Christmas time,
Yeah.
man, it really is
Yeah.
something special that I feel like non-gamers didn't get to appreciate quite as much because that is
Oh
just
yeah.
objectively the best present.
And having
Yeah,
some
that's
jerk in the neighborhood who refuses to let you play the game, like that
Right.
that was way too real. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I hate that guy.
Yeah, it was funny and sentimental and clever. I enjoyed a lot about that. And that's my big recommendation for people, I would say.
Yeah.
Christmas time was the only time we got any kind of gaming system. You know,
Yeah,
because that was a big deal. That was your big Christmas gift.
Yep. And then it was broken by the time Christmas was over.
Oh, now I get to
Frustrate throw things at the TV. Yeah.
now I get to quickly clear up this ambiguity because you were talking in one of your own live shows, Brandon, about best Christmas presents, and I said in your chat, Nintendo 64. And for anyone who doesn't know the reference, there's this you can look it up on YouTube, Nintendo 64 kid. There's this little kid who gets a Nintendo 64 at Christmas in like the 90s. And he's with his sister, and he just goes, "A
Okay.
Nintendo 64, a Nintendo 60." It's so cute.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah.
It's like you got to say it like the kid. I'm like,
Right.
I don't know that one.
But yeah, that was me getting my own consoles at Christmas time. That spoke to me a little too much. But anyway, quick YouTube recommendation for people if you don't have the time for a movie.
Yeah. Christmas memories.
Right.
I watch stuff for the ads these days, the old ads from the 80s. That brings back more nostalgia than the films.
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of surprised I didn't know the Nintendo 64 reference, though, because I watched a lot of TV.
Well, anyway, thank you everybody for joining us today. It has been a lovely talk as always, and happy holidays.
Yep, happy holidays, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Ben and Walter. I really enjoyed my little romp through Christmas movies.
Yeah,
you did a great job. It's so great when somebody's organized and prepared.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
I wish I had more of that in my life.
Thanks.
All right, see you. Bye.
Bye, guys.